Hi everyone, welcome to Gnan Cloud Garage. In this session, I'm going to talk about what are the commonly used VMware Cloud Foundation, in short form VCF, hardening best practices checklist. So before jumping to the hardening best practice checklist, let's understand what is VMware Cloud Foundation. As we are aware, VCF is nothing but it is one of the VMware official private cloud solution, and also it's a future proof for the hybrid cloud solutions as well. And as we are aware, within our VMware Cloud Foundation, it is a software stack. It comes with a all SDDC components like software defined data center, which includes vSphere and virtual SAN and NSX. Along with these three SDDC components, we also have a ARIA suite. That means it comes with a ARIA automation, ARIA operations manager, ARIA login site, and so on. All this software stack combining product name is call it as VMware Cloud Foundation. And hardening means as we are aware, every day there is a new cyber threats evolving in the industry. Cyber attackers and threat actors target data everywhere all the time. So in order to address the situation, security hardening plays a key role. In general, hardening refers to the process of securing a computer system, that means a servers or workstation, network devices, software applications, and also the storage devices by reducing its vulnerabilities and minimizing potential attack surfaces. So most of the time, hardening involves configuring and strengthening the system security settings and policies to make it more resistant to unauthorized access, cyber attacks, and other security threats. So before implement these security policies and configuration, we should aware what is the main items involved within our STDC components. So let me show you in the following slide. So if you as we understand, within a VCF, we have a mainly STDC components. So under software defined data center components, the main component include VMware vSphere. So we should aware of VMware vSphere hardware hardening checklist and VMware NSX and VMware Virtual SAN and VMware Cloud Foundation STDC Manager, Software Defined Data Center Manager. So let's start with the vSphere checklist. As we are aware, in our recent session, I talk about vSphere hardening best practice checklist. So most of vSphere hardening best practice checklist also applicable within the VCF environment. So that's why I mentioned the point is all items on VMware vSphere hardening checklist for virtual machine, ESXi host, and vCenter server and virtual network. All items are applicable in when we customer have a VCF environment. And now coming to the another component, VMware NSX. So NSX means it's a network and security platform. Even within it is a network hypervisor solution. Same like how our vSphere is a server hypervisor. Similarly, NSX is a network hypervisor. And vSAN means it is nothing but a software defined storage solution from the VMware. And within the NSX, whatever the physical network components we have, like within our physical networking, we have a switch. That same switch within our NSX, we call it as a logical switch. Within our physical environment, we have a load balancer, but in the NSX level, we have a logical load balancers. And same way firewall, and here we call it as a DFW, distributed firewall. A router in our NSX in our terminology, we call it as distributed logical router, edge router. Okay, so these components all must to be hardened when we are using in a VCF production environment. So the same points highlighted here. VMware NSX, formerly call it as VMware NSXT data center, and deployment protocol and port requirements we should follow based on the hardening checklist. And VMware NSX Manager appliance deployment and NSX Edge appliance deployment and NSX logs and alerting. These are all the high level hardening best practices. And in addition, for more details, we need to verify the NSX hardening checklist. We can get the checklist from the VMware website. So with interest of our time, I'm not explaining in detail, but the clue is when you type in the Google VMware hardening guides, you will find the hardening guides for each product, all VMware products like vSphere, NSX, and similarly vSAN components are included within vSphere itself. And within a VMware vSAN, the main hardening best practices are vSAN network isolation and enable vSAN encryption. So encryption scenario, we may use the VMware native encryption feature, or we can use a external KMS server. So that means key management servers for the encryption purposes. And when it comes to the another VCF key component is STDC manager. So for STDC manager, VMware Cloud Foundation STD manager isolation. Okay, that means we should maintain STDC manager in a different VLAN subnet and used approved certificates and use dedicated account for updates and patches and deploy with FIPS mode enable and schedule automatic password rotation. Okay, so every organization have a some password rotation policies, like some may maintain every 60 days, some may maintain every 90 days. And apart from these four components, vSphere, NSX, vSAN, and STDC Manager, there are additional hardening practices for all areas and VMware, all products. So the key points are patch currency. And patch currency means install latest security patches and updates. So these security patches and upgrades applicable for vSphere ESX, and ESX means ESX version 8.0 to 8. Update 1, that is called patch. Or if you are planning to upgrade ESX 7 to ESX 8 series, that is called upgrade. And also we can plan similarly for virtual machine hardware version update, and we can also plan for VMware tools update, and similarly for vCenter version updates and upgrades. And we can also plan for a virtual network updates and upgrades. That means we can plan to use a DV switch updates, DV switch upgrades. And now coming to the another key item within the hardening practices is identity and access management. That means we should maintain some access control management. Like the main example, one example is we should create a service accounts. So disable default accounts, like if within our guest operating system, if there are any default accounts like root account and we have administrator account in Windows guest OS, those default accounts we should disable as part of the hardening best practices. And we can create a equivalent admin rights, okay, with a different name, and change the default passwords, and also rollbacks access control and centralized authentication, multi-factor authentication, single sign-on, account lockout, and unique service accounts for all the product areas. Like vSphere must have a service account and NSX, similarly to other two products, vSAN and SSD. These all components we included within a VCF environment. And remote logging, we should maintain a centralized syslog server. Either we can maintain a VMware ARIA logs, or we can use a external log management servers. And one of the third-party tool example is SolarWind QV syslog server. And monitoring, VMware authorized monitoring tools are VMware ARIA operations. And similarly, we can also use vCenter level native server alerts, and we can use any of the third-party tool monitoring that is recommended as part of our hardening best practices. So third-party tool means we can use either SolarWinds network performance monitoring, SolarWinds NPM, or we can use a Nagios or Dynatrace, any of the other third-party monitoring tools like CNMsoft and so on. And when it comes to the backup, always it recommend to ensure environment is backed up. So backup must be maintained for all our management VCF management infrastructure, and similarly workload infrastructure. Generally VCF have a two compartments. Management compartment maintain all infra VMs like vCenter server, NSX manager, and also edge appliances, and all the NSX load balancers. And when it comes to the workload domain, all the customers or tenants application servers. These applications can be a tier-based applications, or sometimes we can use a container-based application. Even our VCF environment, we can if you want to run a container application, we can run Tanzu on VCF. Okay, so for all the compartments like vSphere virtual machines, NSX edge routers, and also load balancers, and similarly all the component, make sure we should maintain a proper backup, and also restoration tests should be success for all the environment. And we can also maintain a some archive strategy, and as well as most of the best practice, we should maintain a business continuity plans as well as disaster recovery plans. Okay, so this is a high level overview of most commonly used VCF hardening best practices checklist. So at the end of the day, what is my benefit when we follow this hardening best practices? The main benefit is organizations often perform a regular security audits and assessments and ensure that their system remained hardened against evolving or emerging cyber attacks or threats. Okay, so to address the cyber attacks and threat actors, we should always maintain a hardened, all our system must be hardened. Okay, so that's it. Thank you. If you are watching this video first time, please do view, like, share, and subscribe to the Gnant Cloud Garage channel. If you are already subscribed, I appreciate all your support. Bye for now.